Hello fellow humans and welcome to this video, and today I want to talk about the auction. Now, obviously the auction is very questionable because basically tanks are like an NFT, as in they don't have any value except for someone claims they do have value. And then if you add some random scarcity to it, you do make them a bit weird, because obviously Wargaming doesn't just have 5,000 of these, they can have as much as they want. They have 5,000 of them because they want you to think it's rare, so you have to spend a horrendous amount of money on it. So, let's go through all of these, and let's see which ones are worth it and which ones are not. And also correctly already, the first three are very rarely bought, which is very good because all of three of them are very bad. The pilot is a very, very mediocre medium tank that doesn't really make you any creds because you have to fire a lot of premium rounds. The Canoniac Panzer is very situational and very boring. It doesn't have a turret, so it is going to work only for a tiny majority of players. Same with the TS5, it is very slow, and the armor isn't really that good either. Then we move on to the next set of tanks here. The KPZ-50 was sold for Black Friday for less, so if you didn't get the KPZ then too bad, unless the price drops to, I think, 8,500 it was. If it goes below then pretty much we're at the same price again. So you can consider it, however, I think, well, it's not a bad tank, it's not a good tank either, it's simply there. Then the M4190 is a decent light tank, however, again, the same thing applies as the first three, is that it is very situational, it's only going to work for a couple of people, and also you have to be a very skilled player to make this thing work, because obviously it does have no armor, and when skill is your only armor, not having skill is going to result in a very, very bad result. Then, T-28 Defender, well, decent tank, more of a heavy than a tank store at that. For 7,500 gold, no. However, if this thing drops to around 6,000, which it probably will, and if there's some left, then this might be a decent option if you like this kind of tank, certainly. So basically, can be worth it. The others, I don't think they'll be worth it. These won't be worth it for any price. The pilot could be worth it for about 3k, but I still wouldn't recommend it. Then the Lycan, completely overpriced, costs 10,000. It's never going to drop to a value where it's going to be adequate. It's a very good tank for tier 7, but it is still very overpriced. And I'd say it would be worth around 4,000 to 5,000. So there's no point buying this now. Object 2 FTU. You could have bought the MX M449 for 5,000 at Black Friday, so while this is a very good tank, you are still going to overpay because the MX is better and was sold for cheaper. Then, the M60, 15,000, which is a very decent price for a tier 10, however, it is going to drop quite a lot. I wouldn't recommend buying it because it is not an actual premium tank, you know, it's not going to make you any premium credits, weirdly enough, because Wargaming. So basically, if it drops to 12k, I think it can be considered as a random fun tank. However, obviously, because it doesn't make any creds, to my knowledge, there is simply no point in getting it, because obviously the M48 patent is the same thing. So why would you spend gold on something you can get for free anyway in the M48 patent? Then, the last three, and this is where it doesn't really get interesting. Now, the Dracula, I think, was sold as well, but it's already gone, which, to be fair, is stupid. So if you bought the Dracula for 12,000 gold, congratulations, you're stupid. Wait, it's gonna be at the end, right? Is there anything that's sold out as well? Yeah. What? Now, obviously, if you already bought the Dracula, congrats, you're dumb. If you didn't miss anything. The Dracula is a very mediocre tier 7 these days. It is worth maybe about 3 to 4k gold, if even. The Type 62 was sold for 3,000 gold. It's somewhere equal in performance to that vehicle, so it isn't worth any more than that. So why would you spend 12k on a tank that is worth 3k? So, stupid. Defender Mark 1 can be considered if it does drop to about 6,000 as well. Decent tank. I'd say the 5.1 is a bit better. However, this is certainly a very good vehicle. Helsing, no. It's 11,000 gold for, again, a very mediocre tier 7, so don't even bother. And then this is where it gets interesting, because the Chieftain Mark 6, it is a premium tank, it does make you premium credits, and this is, I don't know if it's the cheapest ever been sold, but normally it gets sold for 20,000 gold. So you are already making quite a discount here for this vehicle. What I would do, if I want the Chieftain, wait till there's about 1,000 left and then buy it, obviously, because now if you buy it for 17,000, you are going to overpay. However, this thing is a very good price for a very good tank at this moment. So this is the only tank that I would absolutely recommend from this auction. The rest of them are either overpriced or not that good. Now, obviously, I do understand that the Chieftain is very expensive, so I'd say let's talk about it a bit further and let's go into detail. So here we go into the game with the Chieftain Mark 6, and loading times are a bitch, but this gun is lovely, as you can see pretty much. Okay, there's a KPZ over there, I want to watch out. 560 alpha damage is no joke. Unless I was trying to move up here and see what we can do. Obviously, the Super Conqueror is easier to play, and also the Concept 1B is also a very strong tank. However, those two aren't on offer right now, and this one is currently the cheapest. Because I think the Super Conqueror has been sold for 20,000 before, but now currently we're here at 17,000, which is very good. Because obviously this thing is sort of on an equal level in terms of performance as the Super Conqueror and also the Concept 1B. It's just they work a bit different. But this thing relies a bit more on mobility and the gun, and also a bit more on your skill. The Concept 1B and the Super Conqueror rely a lot more on themselves as well. So basically, this thing is a bit harder to play. However, it is just as strong, if not stronger, than the other two. Because obviously, if you can compensate for the armor with your advanced positioning, you can then benefit from the gun without any drawbacks. And also, you can benefit from Yakpan 100s not aiming properly. I'm actually surprised he missed that, to be fair, so very cool. But now the team has decided to go down and that not be very effective, and that is why unfortunate. Now, obviously, the one massive downside of this vehicle is the premium penetration. It's only 310mm on the APCR, and that is something that you definitely have to watch out for. But then again, if you are a good player, you can outposition those disadvantages. There are certain disadvantages that you simply can't overcome. But in this case, just by being a better player, you can make this tank work a lot better than it should. And also, you can see the gun is just absolutely amazing. That's 2 insane snapshots I hit in one game. So the gun is insanely accurate, is insanely well stabilized, and also has 3000 DPM. So there is really nothing bad about the gun whatsoever. Besides, as I said, the premium APCR penetration, which you can sort of compensate for if you position yourself properly. And my team's pretty dead, which is pretty bad. And I'm gonna die here because obviously if I don't angle enough towards the KPZ, I'm gonna get shot in the back from the Jetto, and if I go forward, I'm gonna get shot by the KPZ. If I go back, I'm gonna get shot by the Jetto. So, but as you can see, almost 4k damage here. More than 4k damage actually, in a very quick game, so you can see what this tank is certainly capable of. But let's now see if you can get a bit better one. Obviously. And the thing is, the Concept 1B is a strong tank, as you can see. However, it does have three massive downsides towards this tank. It does not have Hesh, which you can use on this vehicle if you're a good player. So basically, if you're a good player, then this thing is more advantageous to you. To me, anyway. I don't know. Someone else might see that differently. But obviously, this thing doesn't have Hesh. The Concept 1B has less alpha damage, so you have to peek more. But it does have more armor, so basically, it's easier to play. But it has a less of a ceiling, I'd say. And now, what is this guy doing? And also, why is he not getting punished for it? That's my second follow-up question. And yeah, now one of the downsides of the Concept 1B is also that the armor is only frontal. You know, if you shoot him in the side of the turret like that, you don't have any armor. While the Chieftain has more rounded armor, and the Concept 1B is only straight. So basically, the second you turn the turret, you become weak. Now, obviously, there is no doubt about the Concept 1B being a very good tank. However, I think it's not worth, on average, 150,000 gold compared to this one's 15,000 that you can eventually get it for. Basically, because the Chieftain is no worse tank, might even be a better tank than the Concept 1B, but it is significantly cheaper than the Concept 1B. So I think if you're looking for a very good tier 10 main battle tank, then this is pretty much the best option you have, because it is a very, very strong tank for a very cheap price. Now, you might think, what about the VK90? Is it going to come in the shop? Yes, and there is very easy way to say this. This tank is the better vehicle overall. The VK90 is the better heavy tank. Now, if you want a purely heavy tank, then you should probably wait till the VK90 comes around, if it does, because you don't know. I don't know what comes in the second week of the auction. I don't know if there are any leaks, if there are any. You can look it up. I currently have no knowledge of such a thing. Now, obviously, if you want a more heavy tank, then you can go for a VK90. That is also a very, very strong tank. However, I think the better tank overall is this vehicle. And for me, it is also the best tier 10 overall, simply because of its versatility. This thing, you can plunk it in any situation, any scenario, every position, and it is going to always do something. It isn't going to do amazing, but it is always going to do something. And I think that's very important with the current quality of teams that is very bad. You kind of want to have a tank that always is going to perform in some way, shape, or form. Now, obviously, you're not going to do amazing if you're side-scraping against the 183. However, it can still do decently. So with that said, definitely do recommend this tank. If you can afford it, obviously. Only if you can afford it. Don't buy something you can't afford. Never do that. And, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. See you for the next one. Goodbye.